Hello, everybody. Mackenzie here, coming at you with your next installment of our episode by episode review of the new hit musical comedy show, Schmigadoon. In each of these episodes, Autumn and I, or just myself, have been breaking down the events of the episode, the songs, the new characters we get to meet it, and we also get to point out all the fun Golden Age musical Easter eggs that you find throughout this show, because that's the era of musicals that the show is pulling heavily from. And this episode is no exception. So why don't we get into episode 4? So this episode begins with a flashback, and the flashback is of Josh and Melissa fleeing an off-Broadway play, which is being done in the Lonely Room Theater, which is a little reference to Oklahoma and Judd Fry. And this production starred their friend, and it featured him getting naked. So they were very quick to bolt out of there when they realized that. And then outside, as the snow starts to fall, they express their love for each other and kiss. We then cut back to present day in Schmigadoon, and Josh becomes Emma Tate's new handyman in exchange for lodging, as he is still searching for a place after Mildred Layton kicked them out of all the local establishments. Meanwhile, Melissa starts working as a nurse for Doc Lopez, and he turns out to be very tyrannical and very conservative. He prevents his parents from borrowing his surgical lubricant, which they wanted to use for obvious personal bedroom reasons. Then he refuses to assist a pregnant young woman, Nancy, and her boyfriend, which really starts to infuriate Melissa, who was a bit smitten when she first met him, but now she's realizing there's some flaws here. Then we cut back to Josh, whose first day of work as a handyman at the schoolhouse does not start well. He's disruptive to the class and quickly gives up on his first task he's assigned, which is fixing a jammed door, which Emma immediately calls him on, and she leads the class in a song about sticking to things and seeing them through. And that's the song With All of Your Heart, which is a big, rousing classroom tap dancing number. We then see Emma's brother, Carson, who we've seen throughout the show as the lisping boy, is not participating in the song, and that's because he is bullied for his lisp. And so he chooses not to participate and just stands with Josh instead. Then we see at the Schmigadoon multi-faith bake sale, Mayor Menlove and Reverend Layton, Mildred's husband, are connecting at the bake sale. And that's because Mayor Menlove buys some rhubarb squares from Reverend Layton, and they actually even end up sharing a square together. And this heavily implies that there's some type of connection between the two of them. And Mildred from afar notices this and is clearly unhappy about this blossoming connection they have. Then we see Melissa outside of work seeking out Nancy and her boyfriend in their little shack house. And Melissa gives them a sex education lesson because nobody's given the talk to them. So she does a whole Sound of Music do re mi spell number called Vagina, or vagina. Yeah. So very funny, very well done. Then we see Josh is still at the schoolhouse trying to fix the door that was jammed, showing that he's not giving up and that he's going to see things through, which this action impresses Emma. And just as they're about to connect, Betsy and her father, Farmer McDonough, burst into the classroom and attempt to force Josh to marry Betsy at gunpoint. But Emma steps in and disarms Farmer McDonough, takes his gun apart, and sends him home to think about his actions. Josh is very impressed by this, and Emma and him continue to connect, and she starts to ask Josh about life in the big city. And when she does, we hear the startings of a big song, and Josh, not wanting to sing, starts yelling about not wanting to sing. And because everybody in Schmigadoon doesn't hear the music like Josh and Melissa do, they just kind of go into song as if it's natural. She takes this as a personal affront and storms off, and Josh is left frustrated and confused. So Josh seeks out help from Melissa, asking what musical is he in, how can he help win Emma over, and Melissa begrudgingly gives him the advice that most likely he is recreating the musical Music Man, where you have a prim and proper educator of the town and a lisping brother. And so she basically says that in the Music Man, Harold Hill gives Winthrop a trumpet, and because of that, then that wins over Marion, so she says he should do something similar. And just as Josh is about to leave, in comes Nancy and her partner, and they are about to have the baby. And so Josh stays and helps Melissa deliver the baby, which, according to Melissa, came out completely dry, which made her job a lot easier. Josh then leaves to go find an instrument to impress Carson with, and Melissa, as she's filling out the birth certificate, is yelled at by the returning Doc Lopez, and he is very upset with what she did. And Melissa calls him on it. She has the very iconic Maria and Captain Von Trapp yelling match. They recreate that here, and she even says that she gave Doc Lopez's parents the lubricant, and she's encouraging them to use it and going through and for them to go through the entire Kama Sutra. And we then cut to old Doc Lopez has died of a heart attack while doing poses from the Kama Sutra. And at the funeral, Reverend Layton reveals that it wasn't so long ago that Doc Lopez was in here because he lost his wife, which Melissa did not know about. And then, as they're in the church, after some prodding about seizing the day by Melissa, Marin Medlove stands up and comes out to the entire town, revealing that he is gay. And this sends Florence crying out of the church to go lock herself in her home. Mildred, upon seeing this revelation, now really sees her opportunity to seize power, and so she begins to devise a plan with a very big Joker smile on her face. And then after the funeral, Carson and Josh are out in the playground by the schoolhouse, and Josh recreates the scenario from The Music Man by giving Carson a kazoo because he couldn't find any other instrument in town, so he can participate in the class musical numbers. And Carson excitedly shows Emma, which in turn results in her beginning to fall for Josh, and Josh is shocked that this actually worked. Later that evening, reflecting on the day and his growing respect for Melissa, Doc Lopez softens and he declares his love for her while Emma admits her love for Josh. Both couples end the episode by kissing their partner, and snow begins to fall. All right, so let's get into some new characters, or characters that have now been given the chance to come to the forefront of the episode. So first character is Emma Tate, played by Ariana DeBose. We've seen her since episode 1. She was set up in episode 1 in the first song of the town, and she's been in certain community scenes, but she hasn't really been the focus of an episode. And so this was really nice to see her now get her time to shine, and Ariana DeBose is so charismatic in this role. Every time she's on screen, she exudes confidence, and this role is a great modern reinterpretation of the Marion the Librarian character from Music Man, who originally is played as very prudish and standoffish, and DeBose is not standoffish about herself. She is very much somebody who is educated, who is just trying to enlighten the town, and so she's not welcoming. Marion is very unwelcoming at the beginning of the musical. She is welcoming, but she also is someone who pushes the town in directions that maybe they're not overly comfortable with. And so that was great. I mean, the disarming scene where she's a badass and she breaks the gun is great. And once again, it shows how strong this character is. And I mean, it's that type of scene that made me go, oh, her and Nita is going to be something really interesting to watch in this upcoming West Side Story remake. And I just love how DeBose is carrying herself like a classic stereotypical educator, but still giving that bit of modern wink to the audience. And you can see she cares deeply for her class and for Carson, which is beautiful. You see that love come out of her as a good educator. It's just slight little improv things you see her do in the classroom, like just booping someone on the nose, giving them a nice smile, little things like that. And it's great to see the wide range of characters she plays. I mean, she played the Bullet in Hamilton. She was just Alyssa Green in The Prom with Keegan-Michael Key. And now she's doing this role before we see her as Anita in West Side Story. So we've seen her cover a wide spectrum of different characters. So it's been really great to kind of see her in these roles. And it really gets you excited for her upcoming performance in West Side Story. So next we have Doc Lopez, played by Jamie Camille. And this role is clearly based off Captain Von Trapp. And Camille plays the role very well, but this is very much a reprisal of a similar role he played in Jane the Virgin. So, I mean, either way, Camille does well. And it's nice to have this character who, at the beginning of a lot of Roger Hammerstein's Like the King of Siam or like Captain Von Trapp, who's tough on the exterior, but you realize there's a heart beating underneath. And I think Hill does that really well. The only thing I would have liked is to have that time with the time of the softening happen a little bit faster. But part of the joke in a lot of these Golden Age shows is that it happens like that. So that's kind of the funny thing about it, is that you want to see more time develop, but at the same time, it just moves at that quick pace. So what are you going to do? But overall, him and Melissa are very good together. They do have a very nice quality about them, that they like to push each other. So you can see that there's a good potential partnership there. Then we have Reverend Howard Layton, the husband of Mildred Layton, played by Kristen Chenoweth, and Reverend Layton is played by Fred Armisen. And Armisen's Reverend Layton has been appearing throughout the show, once again, like Emma Tate, showing up in the community scenes, having a few one-liners here and there, or giving small looks. So it's great to kind of see him now get a little bit more to do in the episode. He still hasn't had a song. I don't know if he ever will. Maybe he will. Besides the community numbers he participates in. So, but he is a great reverend. Like, you can see why the town likes this guy so much and why he is so listened to, because he has this great way of being kind, but also having some good comedic looks and moments there. It's wonderful. And I mean, him and Kristen Chenoweth have great chemistry together. It's funny watching her kind of browbeat all the time and him kind of suffering along with it in a really great comedic way. And I mean, him and Alan Cummings, Mayor Menlove, do have a really great, sincere connection with each other. Whether that's just friendship or more, we'll have to wait and see. But it is a nice connection either way that I think is just lovely. So it's been really nice. And I mean, he has to deliver some very heartfelt monologues, like the one we saw in the church in the last episode, where he was talking all about true love, and it was great. So he's done a really great job with this very heartfelt, sincere character. So well done there. Now we have the songs of the episode. So we kicked off our song list with All of Your Heart, which is the big Emma Tate in class song. And this is very much the classic educator song. So things like Whistle a Happy Tune, Getting to Know You, From the King and I, or Open the Windows from Anne of Green Gables, the musical. This definitely is playing on the trope of the female educator singing with a chorus of children, which is very kind of a classic stereotypical thing you can find in Golden Age musicals. And yet it also has a bit of that modern West Side Story, or modern for their time, West Side Story jazzy flair to them. And that's kind of neat. And I mean, the way Ariana DeBose sings this, she has a bit of a modern riff to the song too. So it's great that we're seeing how the character of Emma, who is a little bit further, more progressive than the rest of the town, does have a bit more of a stronger, more modern way of singing her Golden Age song, which is a nice touch there. Also, the kids do a great job dancing and keeping up with DeBose, particularly during the desk tap dance moment. It was a solid dance sequence. They were really fun together. So great work. I thoroughly thought everybody in that scene did a really good job. I also liked how in the scene they slipped in some great Broadway name Easter eggs, just like we saw at the basket auction. This time we get the name drops of Tommy and Zanita. And those are the names of the young couple from The Music Man. So once again, we're getting some great Music Man homages there, which is setting up that that's the musical Josh has to use to get to Melissa, or get to Emma, as it were. Then we have our next song, which is sung by Melissa, and it's Vagina. And that song is an obvious, most clear parody in the show. It's the song that's that's reusing the Do Re Mi from Sound of Music. We get the same melody, the same rhythmic structure. And so this song is very clearly meant to be a parody. It's not meant to be a new reinterpretation of a Golden Age song. It's literally meant to be, this is a funny teacher song, and we're going to do the exact same thing here. Yeah, the song, even though it's a parody, is still very much educational. You actually could play this song in a health class. It actually would teach the kids. So good job to the writers for that. And it's even funny how they even got the fake strumming of the guitar in there, kind of like what you see in the real Sound of Music, where Maria doesn't actually play the guitar, but she just mimes it, and that's really funny too. The only complaint is that this song is too quickly. It's too short. I would have loved to have seen it go longer and have like a whole montage just like in the Sound of Music movie where Do Re Mi goes over several days in different locations. It would have been great to see Melissa kind of stirring up the other bachelorettes in town with this song, teaching them about sex education, with something including Melissa as a OBGYN doctor is all about that, teaching young women about sexual health and sexual reproduction and safe sex. So it would have been great to see Melissa getting a little bit bigger with this song and getting the more the girls in town involved in it. So that would have been really nice, but it's still a fun scene. I laughed throughout. Then we have the song sung by Mayor Menlove again, which is the Somewhere Love is Waiting for You coming out reprise. And there isn't much new here. It's very much kind of like the second act, or act two reprise that we see where the same melody is used, but whereas in act one, the version of the song is a song we get a question or a situation set up that we need to resolve. Here in act two, the reprise is now the payoff and the resolution to that moment. So once again, in episode two, we had the mayor's closeted sexuality being hinted at, and he had this big song about it. And now we get the payoff that he's coming out in this scene. And it's lovely. It's a really great scene. And Al coming once again, his enthusiasm, his rich voice and comedy is great. Knowing when to kind of talk sing versus big sing, it's really well done. So it's a solid payoff moment for the audience that we knew was coming, but it was still great to see it happen. Then we have the final song of the episode, which is Suddenly. Apparently, this is a replacement song for original concept of a song called We Neck in the Basement, which was based off of the song We Kiss in the Moonlight from The King and I. But this song is very much a classic love duet about how quickly the couple in a musical can fall in love with each other. The song is based off of other classic romance duets, like It Only Takes a Moment from Hello Dolly, and structurally, it's similar to Something Good from The Sound of Music, where the soaring anthem of Till There Was You from the Music Man. Yet, in most cases, the romance duet is sung by both individuals in the coupling, yet here, only Emma and Dr. Lopez sing, and Melissa and Josh do not, which is implying that while there's an attraction with both these couples, Melissa and Josh are maybe not as in on this partnership. There may still be some lingering feelings between the two of them that they got to resolve. But there's still that great conflict set up of these partnerships do have potential. So what happens next? Who knows? We will find out. But overall, it's a very great classic romantic Broadway duet. So it's lovely. All right. End of the episode. Final thoughts. So this is a very full episode with a lot happening. I'd say almost too much happening in the sense of I would have preferred we see the events of this episode split over 2 episodes, as there's certainly enough plot in these episodes to fill out another episode versus squishing all this plot detail into one. Like it would have been great to see a little bit more time with Josh and Emma in the classroom working together, and seeing Melissa once again building the town up, educating them, really leaning into her doctor thing that everybody keeps telling her she's not a doctor. So seeing a little bit more of her doing that, and then giving more time to Menlove and his coming out story. So I would have loved to have seen that stretched a little bit more, given a little bit more time. But even then, it was still, even though this is a very plot-heavy episode, it's still, the action and the pace of the episode was fast and good enough that at the time when you're watching, you don't notice that you go, oh, maybe we should slow down a bit and give him a bit more time out there to give a little bit more depth to the moment. But overall, it's a solid episode. I can't complain. Once again, this is another great episode with a lot of good songs that I thoroughly enjoy listening to. And I mean, I'm really excited for next week, because in the next episode, because that's when Chris Chenoweth finally gets her big You Got Trouble song. So we'll get to talk about that in the next episode. But overall, this is another great episode. I mean, is it my favorite? Maybe not, because as I said, I would like to see a little bit more depth given. I mean, we had 2.5 episodes to kick the show off and do the whole Danny and Betsy partner pairing stuff. So would have liked to see maybe a little bit more time given to Emma and Doc Lopez, because they clearly seem to be the stronger coupling for Melissa and Josh to compete with. So there we go. All right. Well, in that case, let's wrap it up. So thank you so much for watching. We hope you enjoyed another mini episode review. We got another 2 episodes to go before we're done, and then hopefully by then we'll be ready for season 4 of the podcast. Yay! So stay tuned for that. You can find and follow me at Mackenzie Hunter on all social media platforms. You can follow my antics with Cup of Hemlock at Cup of Hemlock Theater. And you can find all our Cup of Hemlock now on podcast format too. So if you want to listen to some of our episodes on the go, you can most certainly do that for sure. In the meantime, everybody stay healthy, stay safe, and just enjoy the ride, enjoy the week, and we'll see you with our next review. Thanks.